Hey guys, got a fun little position for you here today. White is going forward, black is going down this way, and both players have a set of tripled pawns. That means 3 pawns on the same file, which is not something that you see very often. It does happen in real games, although it's pretty rare. And this position, I believe, was a composed puzzle, but you can imagine this could happen, right? These pawns could capture like this, and black's pawns could do something similar. The question for you is, what should white do in this position? It's white to play and win, and there's one winning idea. So before I say too much, I'll let you guys take a look. If you'd like to pause and come up with what do you think the winning idea is, and then we'll talk about the solution. All right, well, if you had a chance to do that, the first thing that we need to understand, obviously, is that this passed pawn is going to buy white a little bit of time, right? Like black has to use their king to go capture this pawn. You have to kind of come up here and take it. Otherwise, it's just going to become a queen. Black can't do anything else, right? Nothing like that will work. So white has to decide, how do I use the extra time that I have? And there's really only 2 options. Because if you notice, it makes no sense for white to try to come over here. You can't get through. So you either have to try to come up maybe like this and try to get in this way somehow, or you have to come over and go around the long way. So if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move for white is actually the move king to f2. And this is really weird because watch what's going to happen. At first glance, it's like, okay, we're trying to come in here and make a beeline for the d4 square and just gobble up the pawns. It makes sense, right? Except black's going to play d4 and not let us. And we can't go here or here, so we can try to go to f3. But again, black's going to play d5, and we are now completely stuck, right? We can't get through. And we basically have to go back around and try to come through this way. So it looks at first glance like this was a complete waste of time. Like, why would we do that when black's just going to shut us out, right? But actually, this is the only way to win this position. If you don't do this, it's going to be a draw. But if you do this, you can win. So why is that the case? Well, here's the idea. So once we do this, we're going to go back, right? We have to go back because we can't get through that way. We're going to start coming around this side. And here we go. And black, of course, now that they've taken the pawn, is going to try to come over and defend his pawns before we take them. So here we go. Here we go. We come up, and black has a number of different ways that they could, move their king. Obviously, going like back here doesn't make sense because we just come over and we start taking all the pawns, right? So black's going to try to hold on to the pawns. Now, they could do that by staying in the back here, or they could kind of come up this way and just try to defend them from like, here, these 2 squares, just to keep everything defended. The way that we are going to win, really regardless of what black does, let's just use this one as an example. The way that we're going to win is by coming over and doing something like this. And eventually black has to hold on to the pawn. They have to come up. We're going to sneak in the back. Okay, we're going to come around the back like this. And the point is that black can't keep us from going this way, or we come up and we start taking the pawns like this. So black has to basically stay here with the king. Now, we don't go to e6. This is a stalemate. Very weird looking stalemate, but all of our pawns are, keeping the king from moving. But we can go to e7. And again, black has to go back and forth. And we come over here. And you can see what we're doing. We're just going to basically come around this way. Again, we have to avoid the stalemate. But we take this pawn, and now we have a winning king and pawn endgame. We're going to win. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. The question you might be asking is, why, going all the way back to the beginning, why couldn't we just do that right away? Like, just bring our king over and start taking the pawns. Like, why did we have to throw in this little idea? So if you'd like to pause and think through, what did this accomplish? And then we'll talk about why that was necessary. All right, if you had a chance to look at that, the reason we had to do that is probably best demonstrated by showing what happens if we don't do that. So if we just play king to e1, now the position is simply a draw. Black's going to do the same thing, come over here and take our pawn. And we're going to, follow through with our plan of coming around. Black takes it. We come over here. Black starts to come back. And it looks great. It looks like, okay, we're coming in. We're already going to be able to get 1 pawn. But now, black simply plays king to e5. And we don't have a way to make progress. You see, before we had that plan, right, of coming all the way down and around and kind of running along the back and then taking this pawn, and black couldn't do anything, right? The position was locked off to where the king couldn't get through. But now, if you imagine, if we just abandon this area of the board and try to do this, we actually are going to lose. Black's going to simply come up here, take our pawn, and win. Black has 2 pawns, right? he's going to start pushing this and take this at the right moment and win. So, or even come over here and take these pawns, right? Because the king is in, right? That's the trick. And so that is why, going all the way back to the original position, the correct move was to come up and force black to do this, because once these pawns are pushed, the king no longer has a way through. You can see how our pawns completely keep out the king, right, from ever getting in. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's the simple trick to the position. We had to force black to move those forward because we have the extra time by this pawn. Now we can loop around with our king and ultimately win. So fun little position there. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll see you next time. Stay sharp, play smart, and take care.